Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance channel. It is, of course, time for our shop tour of the week, and here we are. We're going to start our second half to the year right here, July 3rd. So tomorrow is the 4th of July, our Independence Day. I like to say this every year when we get our independence from Britain, right? So it's something worth celebrating. So shop tour time. So what I've mainly been doing over the last week is disassembling some of these engines that you guys have been seeing sitting over in their crates and in their pallets. We'll talk about some of that. But what I've got here on the bench today, I actually just have Tyler Ladd's BMW Z3 cylinder head sitting here. I'm just getting ready to mark the valves before I disassemble it, but right in the middle of disassembling that. But when I was taking apart the Mazda 2 stuff, I was getting ready to clean my oil filter, and I wanted to show you guys this. So these are what I like to use. These are System 1 oil filters, and they will spin on. They've got all the adapters and all the diameters, O-rings, anything you could possibly run. So if you're running a standard oil filter right now, you can call up System 1, give them your oil filter part number, and they can provide you with what is a high-performance racing filter. So it's got a canister, and you can see it's got a cleanable filter. And what I like to do is after every weekend, I will take my filter off and I will inspect it. Then you can clean it in the solvent tank and put it right back in. And that way you never have to buy another oil filter. Yes, they are expensive. They're a couple $100s, but if you're buying a good racing filter, you're spending $10 or $15 at a hit. So probably in a couple seasons, 2-3 seasons, your filter is going to pay for itself anyway. But and this way you can inspect it really good. It's kind of funny because you can see how small this thing is. And I was talking to him about, man, this filter seems small. This is the same filter that they put on Corvettes. So I think if it can filter oil and flow enough oil for a Corvette, I think the little Mazda 2 is going to be okay. So just wanted to show you guys that before I stick it in the solvent tank. Last week we talked about cross-drilled rotors, drilled and slotted rotors. Well, I changed the rotors out on Dave's car, but I noticed in the video that it was kind of hard to see the cracks. So I've got these rotors sitting here, and you can get a much better idea of just how bad these rotors are cracked. So it went through, obviously came through the hole, went almost all the way down to the center, and also cracked all the way through the top of the rotor. So this rotor was on the verge of failing, and you can see it's on both sides and on both rotors. This other rotor's cracked as well. So these are going to the scrap yard because Dave's car is sitting over there getting ready for him to pick it up in about 2 hours. So they are headed to High Plains this weekend. And Bill Lampkin will be here in the next hour, and we're going to dyno his CRX, and so he's headed off to High Plains as well this weekend. So I think there's 3H production cars entered, and both of them are here this morning. So they've got a little drive to get back to Colorado, but that's where they're headed this weekend. In the meantime, speaking of engines that are coming apart, whenever I work on one of these, I'm like, gosh, these things are huge. So this is the engine out of Tyler's BMW Z3. I'm just getting ready to pull the bottom end apart. You saw the cylinder head over there. I've got the cams and the lifters and everything kind of lined out here, just doing disassembly and inspection. So over the last week, I've been working on a number of engines. So I have over here, I have the two ND2 motors completely taken apart. These are for the McCumbee-McAleer Corporation. And then I've got both of Ken Kennard's engines sitting up here. And I'm getting ready to put all of Tyler's stuff over here onto this shelf. So about 5 engines apart is generally about what I do as I'm in process. So when all of this stuff comes back from the machine shop, I'll start working on, say, one of Ken's engines, which will be his runoffs engine. And then as that happens, I'll take apart another engine, get it in process. So that's kind of where I'm at engine-wise. But you can see over here that my engine area is clearing out pretty nicely, which is a good thing because, like I was saying, I keep hearing that the Camaro is going to be back. But here we are, we're in July. It's not here yet, but that car's so big I need to be prepared to have it sitting right here. So I've still got Cliff's engine here and then the other F production engine over there. But of course I did get another engine in this week as well. So this is Denny Hightower's engine sitting over here in the crate. He's from Florida. So I've got a bunch of things still to take apart, but it takes time. Now, Rocketeer quick update. You can see the cars up on the quick jacks. That is because I am getting ready to do the steering wheel install. But we had our first Rocketeer car installation of weighing the car. So we're going to have a whole series, like I mentioned last week. We're going to have a whole series on the build of this car. We're going to talk about all of the modifications that we're going to do to this car through the whole build process. And I know I've mentioned it before, but man, I love this. I love these quick jacks. They really work good as an option to get a car off the ground. And this is still on its low setting. I can go up about another foot. But this is going to be a great height to work on the steering wheel. So like I said, keep your eyes open on the channel for all the Rocketeer installations. We're going to have a whole series. So while we're waiting, I did talk to a guy about a convertible top. So I think that I'm going to have a convertible top coming soon. Show you guys how to change out a convertible top in a Miata, which is pretty exciting. So we'll do that. We'll do the steering wheel and everything else that we're going to get to doing. So kind of excited to get this car rocking and rolling. So besides all the engines and the car, the engines took up most of my week. But, of course, Mazda 2 update. Couple things this week. I think we talked about at one point how I've lost, maybe we haven't, I lost 2 canopy tarps on my trailer this year. One in Atlanta with a gust of wind, and then the weather was so bad at Mid-Ohio that it flapped so bad that these little $50 tarps I've been buying just keep ripping. So I decided, courtesy of Mazda contingency money, thank you Mazda, to buy a heavy-duty tarp. So this comes from a place called Tarps and All, and you can custom order these. This is a heavy frickin' duty tarp, and I had this outside seam sewn in. You can pick how far apart you want your grommets. It's about a $300 tarp, but this thing should last. That's my plan. So I can check that off my list because I've got heavy duty tarp for trailer right here. Check. More exciting things is the transmission. So you guys saw the transmission sitting here last week. You can see it's all the way apart. And I, of course, found my issue with 4th gear. The synchronizer is broken. So what happens when you have a broken synchronizer? Here's what happens, guys. This synchronizer is supposed to slide into this slider hub, just like this. And the gear, because it's a cone, goes onto here. And when you shift, this slider hub engages this gear. The problem is, when you have a broken synchronizer like this, and it's a little snug just trying to get it out of here, when you're pushing on that cone, because it's broken, it's actually trying to separate. And when it tries to separate like this, it pushes out on the slider hub, and it will not engage the gear smoothly. This is what I've been fighting with this transmission over the last couple of race weekends. So, Mazda has these in stock. They're like $40. I've got one coming. We'll get the cases all cleaned up. You see I've got the 2 cases down here on the ground next to the completed transmission. I want to get this all back together, completed, because I should have valves for the runoffs engine any week now. So we're getting really close. July was our goal for that. So here we are in July. Should be looking good on that. So everything's coming down to an end. I did end up pulling the drums off of the back here. So this car uses drums and it uses shoes. So you can see I pulled these off and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, these are looking a little bit thin. Mazda, fortunately, has new shoes in stock. So yes, I am using bone stock brake shoes in the back. Why is that? With a front wheel drive car, all your weight's on the front. And if you have too much rear brake, all you're going to do is lock up rear brakes, especially as you're trailing into the corner. And for those of you that have seen this car on the racetrack, you know that I'm lifting the back tire on corner turn-in as I'm trailing down to the apex constantly. So all that would do would be to drag the tire, flat spot a rear tire. We're not looking for that. So rear shoes, these have been lasting about 2 seasons for the rear shoes. So we're going to put some new ones on for the runoffs, but we're looking really good there. So just chipping away at everything, hoping to finish up the transmission and then get into the engine build soon. Because here we are, July already. 2 months we're going to be in the runoffs month. So we're getting really close, guys, really close. So if you are going to the runoffs this year, get to working on your car. I know that some of you race through the summer. Not my thing, but if you do, stay cool. Number one thing that happens to guys when they race in the summertime is get overheated. So there's a number of ways you can keep yourself cool in a race car, from cool suits. Some people have ice shirts that they wear, things like that. But be careful out there if you're racing this summer. I appreciate you guys watching as always. If you have any questions, comments, check it out. And I know that all of you went and watched the custom workbench video that went onto the channel this week as well. I know you did, because if you didn't, go check it out. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great rest of your week. Take care.